HarperCollins and HarperAudio present I Am the Storm, inspiring stories of people who fight against overwhelming odds by Janice Dean. This is the author. For those who continue to fight, never give up. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Margaret Thatcher. Introduction. For almost 20 years, viewers have seen me as the mostly sunny meteorologist on television. I even wrote a book about it. But like the weather I forecast, life isn't always clear skies. The storms roll in, sometimes without any warning. And it's what you choose to do with those moments that can change the outcome. Sometimes the roughest conditions teach you the hardest lessons, but it can also prepare you for the future and help build a stronger foundation to stand on. I've had plenty of bad weather that threatened to destroy me. A home invasion in my early 30s made me reevaluate where I was living and helped me decide to move back home to heal. It forced me to look at where I was headed and start over to make better choices. A few years later, a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis threatened to sidetrack my career and hopes for a family of my own. After a few months of feeling sorry for myself, I surrounded myself with encouraging people and a good therapist who told me not to let a chronic illness get in the way of my dreams. Despite a few people advising me to keep my MS a secret, I decided it was more important to be honest and share my illness to help others. Being bullied in school as a kid and having a couple of abusive bosses at work also helped shape the person I am today. Sometimes the best course of action is to walk away from the abuse, which I did in 2003. When I worked for the notorious shock jock broadcaster Don Imus. Not long after I moved to New York for what should have been the best job of my life, I had to look for something else. And that brought me to Fox News, where I've worked for almost 2 decades. In 2016, I was one of the women who came forward about being sexually harassed by Fox News CEO, now deceased, Roger Ailes. The harassment happened early on in my career, and I was able to navigate the situation while still having an exciting, productive job. I just figured the boss was a lonely guy looking for an affair. I brushed off his suggestions and provocative questions and reminded him I was in a relationship. This wasn't the first time I'd had to deal with this kind of behavior, and it's not exclusive to powerful CEOs in broadcasting. Back then, there wasn't much I could do about it. Most companies were set up to protect those in power. When Gretchen Carlson filed her lawsuit against Roger after being let go from Fox, many of us had to decide if it was worth coming forward to tell our stories during an investigation. My friend Megyn Kelly's name was leaked in the press for confessing that she too was harassed and propositioned by Ailes, and that's when we found the courage to share our own experiences. None of us thought Roger would be fired and we would be punished, but on behalf of other possible victims, a silent army of us risked our jobs and livelihoods to tell our embarrassing, dark stories to a room full of lawyers. The action was swift. Gretchen won her lawsuit, and Roger was let go. It's important to point out that all of this happened before the Me Too movement. Sometimes I wonder if maybe my small part helped pave the way for the brave women who came forward about former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's alleged sexual harassment. I've been asked which was harder, going against one of the most powerful CEOs in broadcasting or a dynasty politician. I will say this, had I not had the challenge of risking my career to tell the truth about a very powerful boss, I don't think I would have had the courage to stand up to a Cuomo. It began in the spring of 2020 when my husband lost both of his parents. They contracted the coronavirus in separate care facilities within 2 weeks of each other. It changed our lives forever and gave me a new purpose.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?